Hi, for our dystopian apocalyptic genre, I'm reading a young adult book called Internment by Samira Ahmed. It's about a young girl named Layla who is in an internment camp because she is Muslim American, and she's in that internment camp with her family, some friends, and she has a boyfriend on the outside. Okay, this is from chapter 14. My hands shake as I pull on my black hoodie. I guess it's my official sneak out uniform now. David is here. Close, so close. I pray that nothing goes wrong. Corporal Reynolds agreed to help me, to help us. I'm pretty sure he feels bad about all this. He should. And on the outside, I might care that I'm using his sympathy or guilt to get him to conspire with me. But what other choice do I have? I tiptoe out of the trailer. It's a little past midnight. I have to get to the rock garden on my own. There are no guards outside, like Corporal Reynolds told me. I stick close to the Mercury homes, avoiding the searchlights. They travel across the camp in a pattern. So I count the seconds and run from shadow to shadow. My heart races, pounding in my ears, and my skin is covered in goosebumps. The logical part of my brain is screaming at me to stop, to go back to the trailer. But I don't stop. I can't. Corporal Reynolds is waiting for me at the garden. When he sees me, he puts his hand up, telling me to wait. A beam of light passes inches from where he is. Then he beckons for me to hurry. I sent the guards at this end away, and Buddy rerouted the drones. But you have 5 minutes tops. You hear me? His voice is tight, strained, and his face looks stricken, but I'm not sure by what. The director is off site today. That's why I'm able to meet and direct a few things. But don't think you're safe, not even with me by your side. Not for 1 second. Do you understand? I nod. I hear the weight of his words. But how serious he is about what he's saying, but I can't feel it of them. My only emotion right now is giddy elation, because David is here, in this place, where I thought everyone had forgotten about us. But Corporal Reynolds is staring at me with expectant eyes. My half-hearted nod isn't enough. I get it, Corporal Reynolds. I'm in danger all the time. Yes, you are. And like I said, call me Jake. I think it's fair to say I've crossed the guard line here. Jake. Thank you, I whisper. Before I realize what I'm doing, I put my hand on his arm. A tiny, spontaneous gesture of thanks startles both of us. I pull my hand away. Jake points across the midway to a red metal tool shed at the back. There's a Jeep parked next to it. We hurry towards it, not saying a word. But I'm utterly certain the drumming of my heart is echoing through the canyon. Jake stops me at the door and hands me a flashlight. Remember what I said. 5 minutes. Keep your ears open. If you hear my voice at all, don't move. Don't make a sound. Don't come out. I'll open the door when it's safe. Got it? I nod, and I put my hand on the doorknob. Layla, Jake whispers. There are no cameras in there, but speak softly. I push open the door. It's so dark outside. Layla, it's him. It's his voice. I turn on the flashlight and David steps towards me and wraps me in his arms. I cry in his shirt and he holds me tighter. It feels so good to be held by him. Is it possible to miss something even more while you're experiencing it? Then we kiss. It's slow and soft and lovely. and makes me want to cry and laugh at the same time. For one perfect moment, the entire world disappears. David gently pulls me to the ground. He turns his back so his back is against the door and draws me to him. He folds his right arm around my shoulders and knits my fingers through his. I want to sit here and not say anything all night. Me, David, with the floral notes of his clean clothes and the minty smell of his soap and the intimate familiar ways our bodies fold into each other. It's what all humans want, isn't it? To be known. And David knows me. But we don't have world enough or time. We have minutes, seconds. Soon we'll return to reality, barbed wire and electric fence. Layla, listen. They're not closing this place down. Another camp is opening in a few weeks. They've expanded the Muslim ban. Total immigration lockdown, and for tourists too. Even if you're not Muslim but are from a Muslim majority country. But I have an idea. The news guts me. An idea for what? Look, I don't know if this would work, but remember how I told you my dad said something about people making themselves useful? I nod, not sure where David is going. Not sure I want to know. It got me thinking. What if, he pauses, takes a deep breath. He's never uncomfortable around me, but now I see his muscles tense. His words are all stuck in him, and he's trying to force them out. David, you're making me nervous. What is it? Do you think you could convince your parents to help the government with... My mouth drops open, and I turn to David, grabbing the flashlight and directing its glare at his face. He puts up his hand to shield his eyes, so I lower the beam. What? You want my parents to help the assholes who put us in here? Did your dad put you up to this? No, he had no idea. I thought that maybe if I could go to him and tell him your parents would, cooperate somehow, then he'd try to help get you guys out of here. I wasn't thinking that they'd be holding guns to people's heads. They'd have to, I don't know, translate stuff maybe. Keep the authority informed. Tears flow down my face. David has punched a hole through my center. I open my mouth, stutter. I have so many words I want to scream right now, but they're all frozen inside me. And I can't scream. Not here, not anywhere in this camp. David, have you lost your mind? You're the one person I have, the one person I trust on the outside. And now you want to make my parents, what, collaborators? You want us to inform on other Muslims to save ourselves? They would never do that. And neither would I. I scoot away from him, then stand. David reaches out to touch me. I pull away. He stands up and cups my cheek with his hand. For an instant I relax in it. The warmth, the familiar curve of his palm touching my hand, my skin. I sigh. Then I step back, the rage building inside me. I turn my back to him, trying to figure out what to say. He comes around and draws me into his arms, but I shove him back. He bends down and whispers into my ear, Layla, listen to me. Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insult you or hurt you. But what if this is the only way to get you out? To keep you safe? Who are you right now? Your mom is Brown. Her last name is Shabazi. And without your dad's protection, some ignorant fascist might mistakenly force her into this camp too. And you want us to cooperate with him? Do you actually believe your dad would even go for your stupid idea? Did you even think this through? I was thinking I love you, that's all. I'm terrified, scared that you'll hurt. Or worse. I want you out of here because I know what happens to people who get sent to camps. My whole family knows. Don't you understand? I'm going crazy every second you're away from me. His voice breaks. I don't know how else to help you. I clench my jaw, but David's words also pierced my heart. If you even knew me at all, you would realize how stupid it was to even ask. I look up at David, fury in my eyes, but there's also doubt in my heart. What I wouldn't give to be out of here, to be free, to know my parents are safe, to do regular, everyday things, to take a walk, to breathe, to sleep. But even if I begged my parents to do this, I can't imagine them giving in. If they wouldn't lie on a census, a small lie to hide us, they certainly aren't going to become traitors or spies. Even if they never saw who they were hurting, they would know they were condemning people to internment, or worse. And living an ethical life, a moral life, is important to them. I can hear my dad's voice now, and I repeat the words that come to mind. In the quiet of the night, the heart knows the lies you told to survive. Who said that? David asks. My dad, I whisper. Okay then. Exactly. Sometimes you have to do what you need to do to survive. Live to fight another day. No, David, that's not what the poem means. It means you can never escape your lies, even if you think you have, even if it was to survive. The lies, your deception, are always with you. David sings himself like he's been punched. I don't think I've ever seen his face look so pale. Only now I notice the bruise-like circles under his eyes. He looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. Tears well in his eyes. He clears his throat. His voice is barely a whisper. I'm afraid for you. I'm afraid of what they could do to you if something happens to you. Don't you think I'm scared too? I take a few steps to the door. Layla, I'm sorry, please. I'm staying in town. I'm not going home. We'll figure out another way. I'm not leaving here without you. The door opens. Jake is standing there. I can't imagine what the two of us look like. What I look like. Face wet with tears, eyes swollen. David, stay here like I instructed you. I'll drive you out under the tarp, same way as we came in. Don't make a sound. David nods at Jake's instructions, then looks at me and says, I love you. I'm sorry. He steps back in the darkness and Jake closes the door. Jake and I hurry across the midway. I let him guide me, pulling me away from the light beams and into the shadows. Tears run down my face, too fast for me to wipe them away. I thought David would help, somehow, and instead he wants us to become informers. I swipe my sleeve across my nose. My entire world is upside down. Jake produces a tissue from his pocket and hands it to me. I don't think. He pauses and rubs his hand across the back of his neck. He's trying to help your family. I ball my hands into fists. Anger wells inside me. Don't you think I know that? And were you listening in on us? I heard most of it. It was hard not to. It's a flimsy tool shed. It's not soundproof. He's desperate, that's all. I'm desperate too, but what he's suggesting, that's not an option. We can't do that. If we do, we'll be as bad as... I look up at Jake and then stop myself and turn away. Go ahead, finish your sentence. You'll be as bad as me? He winces as he says this. My mouth goes dry. What I said might have been terribly stupid or dangerous. I can't speak. Jake's eyes scan the area with each step. He's cautious, always observing and adjusting his behavior to the situation. He never speaks if anyone could possibly overhear. Layla, listen to me. I told you before. It's not cut and dry. On the outside or in here, things are happening. People are organizing. They're making their way down here. That little town, Independence, is filling up with media and protesters. Occupy Mobius, they're calling themselves. The Secretary of War got doxxed by Anonymous, the hacktivist group. I stop and look at Jake, my eyes wide and nod. My stomach churns. We're getting dribs and drabs of news from the outside, but nothing like this. Inside here we're frozen in time, stuck. But outside the world is still moving. Why are you telling me this? Because what I think David wanted to tell you, what he might have told you if you weren't so terrified of losing you, is don't give up. We arrive back at the trailer door. So maybe there's still hope, I whisper. Jake steps a half step towards me. Insha Allah, he whispers.